So I will say that today my one of our attorneys, an attorney, started taking video of the sweep and challenging and going, look, the only thing in there is a blanket and some clothes, and everything looks nice and neat, and the city's gonna come and take it all. So he's we'll see how much movement that makes, right? Right.
Very popular. Wow. Everybody's about to hit the they know where they're going to get their chance from.
How long you're going to be set up here, because you can't be set up here.
Okay, I won't stay. Once people start coming, I'll get out of here.
As I say, you see this. You know, this is their show, their event. So.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Hi, who are you here with?
Hi. I've been doing it for 45 years. I've been doing it. Yeah, we won't block. Sure, no problem. But they just want to keep this open. So as long as our entrance and exit isn't being blocked, they're all good. So,
thank you.
We can just step
Well, I'm just trying not to get my camera wet.
Oh yeah, you got the umbrella.
Yeah, well, some of it, yeah.
But right now you're in the entrance, so over here's fine. Across the street's fine, but we can't have you standing at the entrance here.
Well, I mean, I'm not blocking. Is anyone even here right now? I mean, nobody's even here yet, man.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna block anybody's way, dude.
You have an umbrella, you can just go hang out over here or across the street. But like, I don't want to call the police, so if you could just stay on public property, you're good. Yeah, just don't stand in the entrance and you're good. Actually, you don't block the entrance or exit. I appreciate that, thank you.
And we're actually, just so you know, we're not protesting, we're advocating.
Oh, okay.
Big difference.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
They were just telling me to tell you to leave the entrance and exit open.
Yeah.
That's their only request. So,
We
yeah.
all got to do what we should do.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
The security guard is being a hard ass for no reason.
probably wanted to. You see, the basic workers that are running the thing on the front lines are our friends. It's the institution that's totally fucked up. And they know it because they work there. So we support the workers at Housing Matters, but we denounce the leadership for not stopping the homeless sweeps. Time to stop the sweeps. Stop killing our homeless friends. Stop the sweeps. Time to stop the sweeps. Housing Matter has the power to stop the sweeps, but they're refusing. Get Housing Matter to stop the sweeps. Okay, everybody, let's hear some honking. Okay. Yeah, everybody here knows. In California, you know what a sweep is because you see it all day long, every day. Yeah, it's brutal. It's completely brutal. So we're here to protest the fact that Housing Matters is coordinating with the city to sweep the Coral Street area and Harvey West. They got a $4 million, Housing Matters didn't technically, but the city got a $4 million homeless abatement, encampment abatement grant they got to use over 2 years to attack the homeless. And they're coordinating with Housing Matters to drive the homeless into the streets and doorways. They're taking them down to the street because they scatter them all over town. And then right before the point in time count, everybody was dispersed everywhere. So I'm sure Fred Keeley will do what he did last year and say, oh, it's a decrease of 36%. Thanks, everybody. That's the next thing's going to go on. So, gotta stop these sweeps. Stop these sweeps. Stop the sweeps. Housing Matter has the opportunity to tell the city to stop attacking the homeless outside of the shelter. They certainly could do that if they want to. It's time for Housing Matters to stand up for the homeless and stop attacking them. It's a perfect opportunity for Housing Matters to pressure the city to end these brutal, violent sweeps that are killing people. Justin Cummings will be speaking here tonight. He voted to evict everybody from Ross Camp and Desi. Our union member was killed in the Redwood Tree Cylinder after Cummings voted to send the people to their death. Time for Housing Matters to step up and defend the homeless. It's their time. They can defend the homeless. I'm aware of 5-state event now. We're bringing it to New Mexico. Woohoo! That's funny as shit, is it? What a funny thing. Normally we'd be at a Food Up Boss meeting right now and we wouldn't be able to talk, but this is great. That's funny. Okay, everybody. We're demanding Housing Matters. Pressure the city to end these sweeps. These are deadly sweeps. We've had friends killed behind these sweeps. That's what they are. So Housing Matters, about time they step up and join the homeless community and defend the rights of the homeless. Stop complaining about us protesting and start doing something like pressuring the city to end these sweeps. the shelters are always full. And yet what they do is they brutalize the people living outside. And Housing Matters has every ability to stop the last major sweep in the beginning of January, where they blocked off Coral Street and they started seizing everybody's belongings and forcing everyone into doorways downtown, where they were then kicked out again, and they've been being traced all around town. And this is outrageous. Housing Matters should be an ally of the homeless, not an enemy of the homeless. So it's time that Housing Matters starts pressuring Fred Keeley and Justin Cummings and Shibra and the rest of the city government to stop these brutal attacks against the homeless. It needs to stop. People are dying and they are killing them. So we need to get more and more pressure against Housing Matters. They have, they're the largest part of the homeless industrial complex here in Santa Cruz County. They have power. They could pressure Fred Keeley, who is speaking here tonight, to stop this brutality. But Fred Keeley has a special hatred for homeless people. He's the mayor of the city. He ran the cash committee and brutalized homeless people for a year at a phony committee to study solutions for the homeless. And then you have Don Lane, who runs a dog and pony show where he brings in homeless people that he demeans in public at his little, smart solutions events. We got to stop this. These are our family, our friends. They need to stop the attacks against the homeless. This is vital that this violence against the homeless stop and that Housing Matters stops participating in these horrible violent acts. Now it's time to step up the pressure, denounce Housing Matters until they side with the homeless and start defending the rights of the homeless. It's outrageous. Justin Cummings will be speaking here, and he voted to evict Ross Camp after we first campaigned for his candidacy as city councilor, and then his first important vote, he voted to drive the homeless into the Poconet, and that's where our friend Desi was killed. So the city lied. They told the courts that everybody would have a place to stay when they drove everyone out of Ross Camp, and hundreds of people ended up in the Poconet and on the levees, and that's how our people started dying, because of Justin Cummings' vote to drive them into the woods and drive them into the riverbanks. So we need to stop this. It's time. Stop the sweep! Stop the sweep! Stop the sweep! Stop the sweep! Time to stop the sweep! Stop the sweep! Okay, time to stop these sweeps. Housing Matters can have influence on the community instead of inviting these politicians who hate the homeless and who have been publicly hating the homeless to speak at their events. They can be pressuring these people to stop their violence, stop their cruelty.
Bolster their credibility. And at this protest, we got tons of different signs, things like homes, not jails, stop the sweeps, homes, not jails. And there's a sign here with Desiree's beautiful face on it. It says she lied and the city died. She died and the city lied.
City lied and people died.
And people died. The city lied and people died. Could you give us an explanation on who Desiree is?
Yeah, Desiree Quintero. Desiree died in a windstorm. Actually, Elise, you want to say something about that?
What do you want me to say?
Desiree
Question
Quintero.
about Desiree Quintero.
Yeah, what about Desiree?
If you could provide illumination on this
Gas
sign
money.
that says "The city lied, people died." Desiree.
Yeah, there was a really robust homeless camp down near the shopping center where the Ross store was. It's like right there at River where Route 1, the entranceway to Route 1. It was a really big camp that homeless people had staked out and they were living there and surviving there. And it was pretty, I don't say it, but it was the city attacked it really and gave all this testimony that they were going to get people shelters and this and that, and so people, as usual, wound up like. And Desiree was one of the leaders of the Ross camp, and she was a spokesperson for the homeless there. She was really well respected and loved, well known. She, like many others, moved over to the Pogo Nip, and the city, left people outside of the shelters were not really available, especially low barrier where people could really come and go and survive and feel not like they were under too much pressure, more than they could handle, or surveillance, and that's what was happening at the Ross camp. People were surviving, and the politicians at the time, Drew Glover was running for office, or he had recently got elected. We had a good, healthy representation that was in a very deceitful way. Those people were recalled, and the homeless people went out. I'm talking about the politicians were recalled, and so we weren't able to move ahead with our agenda, which was to get good, low-barrier shelters to actually keep people from dying. And what happened with Desiree is she went into the Pogo Nip. My understanding at the time was that she was out there in a storm. A huge branch fell on her and killed her. And that is my understanding of what happened to her. And I knew Desiree. We were friends because we were activists together, and she was really great. But a lot of people, like Alicia Cool, who is, or still is, I think, president of the Homeless Union, really close to Desiree. It was a really terrible loss for the community, and it was just so, sorry to say this, but ironic, because only within a few days or a week or two of her losing protected shelter, the Ross camp was not under any big trees. It was really safe. People could get food there. They could access bathrooms from there downtown, and it was not impeding anybody from shopping unless they had an unfounded fear of people who were poor homeless. And that's what happened, and tragically we lost her, and so that's the story.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Athena.
Notorious nurse whose fame actually began with his questionable behavior around the Food Not Bombs conspiracy in the 90s. Sir, what do you mean by showing your face here?
It's life or death. We're here to advocate for life and stop the sweeps, bring back our humanity, bring back our conscience, and fight for life. Life as we know it.
And I guess you fight for the life of people you take care of as a nurse.
Yes, I do.
Which may be more hands-on.
Can be.
Yes. Now, how does this... You were around during the Food Not Bombs heyday in San Francisco in the 90s. What's happened up there since? I understand Food Not Bombs now only serves twice a week and is occasionally harassed by the police, but isn't doing much. What's the update?
I mean, to be fair, I've been living in a time capsule, and I'm just coming back onto the front lines from a 20-year hiatus. So, I will say that there's been a lot.
Don't support the poverty pimps!
A lot of action around the Free Palestine movement. Before that, the climate change movement, and I'm happy to say that I've seen Food Not Bombs serving at those big, global protests on the streets. That's been epic. Yeah. Oh, and Critical Mass is still going. I did a Critical Mass last month. It was insane.
That's a bunch of wild bikers who pay no attention to the regulation.
And the Friday night midnight skate, which is it's a 12-mile loop around the city on roller skates and rollerblades.
When are you going to grow up, John? For heaven's sake.
Never.
That's
Never. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wolves in sheep clothing in the purple. Wolves in sheep clothing.
Uh-oh. Come on, you folks. Don't encourage the poverty pimp.
Hold on to your humanity.
Give yourself to the homeless. Go buy him some tents. Don't buy more cushions for Bill Kramer. Come on, you guys. Show some sense. Oh, well. dollars, if not cents.
There you go. I think that's all it is.
For the people. Fight for humanity.
You may wear a beret, but you're still bourgeois. Support the homeless, not the homeless exploiters. Now, will you show up when they sweep away the homeless next? Or will you be inside watching a nice movie? Don't fund homeless demolitions.
It feels
That
like
raggedy pig, you must be homeless. Get away from me. That's the homeless man. Get rid of him, for heaven's sake.
You can't get rid of it unless you kill it. And you can kill it slowly or you can kill it quickly. But you can't kill it slowly.
Stop the exploitation of homeless people by well-paid poverty pimps. Don't pretend you're helping people when you let the police sweep them away. And fund the organization that encourages them to sweep away homeless people. That's my thing.
it makes a lot of sense, actually.
I'm afraid so.
You know, actually, in Salinas, in Chinatown, they did an unnoticed sweep, which is illegal. They're supposed to post a notice, which for at least 2 to 3 days business notice, and they didn't do that. They're like, we usually don't show up on a Saturday or the weekends, but here we are. And you know, 2 minutes later, they started bringing in the claw bulldozer and taking everybody's belongings. So our Closer Walk, there's a Closer Walk Ministries. You know, the pastor there is also an attorney, and so he was taking some footage today while it was raining, and the city come by and still take their stuff. We just complained to him on Tuesday, and of course nothing has changed. So so it was just kind of peculiar. You know, hopefully it works in our favor that an attorney was starting to gather evidence and likely some declarations from folks.
Well, the honks are coming more.
I'm hoping that that's a change for the better. We do have 2 council ladies that are on there now. You know, at the end of our comments, and it was their council member reports, said that they were concerned about the sweeps and the timing, you know, because it was freezing. It still is freezing. It's raining, and we're taking everything they got. How are they supposed to stay warm if they can't even stay dry?
Here, here. No question about that. Help the homeless people get out of the rain. Don't fund poverty pimps. Here's Greg.
Hello, Wes.
He claims to be homeless. Why would you believe that?
Hey man, he's got
Kevin
style.
Klein leather blazer.
You got style.
It's just what you wear when you're homeless. And look at this. Vans, snowboard pants. It's not style. It's how you stay dry and warm when you don't have anything else going on. And when the cops keep waking you up at 4 in the morning, despite the fact that the warming center had no beds, and you say, well, where am I supposed to go? And I pull out a map. Empty answer, or lack of answer. And I learned long ago from Wes White, the legendary Wes White, that's just what you do. That's how you just keep going on and on and on and on and on. Energizer Bunny with a camera.
In fact, that's not true. That's
I'm just glad y'all are out here, man.
I would say go inside. Don't encourage the poverty pimp. Not the poverty pimp. Are you coming? That dreamer group that's what I'm which is dedicated to attacking the homeless around Cody. So we're announcing that here. It's very important that we speak out against the attacks that people die behind the homeless week that Housing Matters is endorsing. So we really need to call it popular rebellion against these attacks on the homeless because with the new Trump administration is going to get a lot worse. And many more people will be on the street. And people do not want. We need as much support as possible. Okay, so what's up with Housing Matters? And why are they attacking the homeless? What's up with that? It's time to rebel against the poverty pimps of this community. And what they're doing to the homeless is egregious. No one should give Housing Matters money. They get millions of dollars and they abuse the homeless. It's outrageous. It's time for us to stand up in solidarity with the homeless people that are having to live in this rain. And it's urgent that we come out to denounce what is happening here. We're here protesting Housing Matters participation in the homeless suites in Coral Street area and Harvey West. It's time for Housing Matters to stop attacking the homeless. It's time for Housing Matters to stop attacking the homeless. They have the power to influence the city to end their homeless suites and their encampment resolution grants, attacking the homeless on Coral Street, around the shelter in Harvey West. It's time that we start defending the rights of the homeless. Housing Matters should step up and start pressuring the city to end the attacks on the homeless. Let's get Housing Matters to stand with the homeless and demand an end to the vicious sweeps that are happening here in Santa Cruz. Time to end these sweeps. Housing Matters should be embarrassed that they allow and support, according to their emails with the city, the homeless suites in Coral Street and in Harvey West. It's time for Housing Matters to side with the homeless and stop their brutal attacks against our homeless friends. Justin Cummings will be speaking here. He voted to evict everyone from Ross Camp. That was his first major vote as a city councilor, and our friend Desi died directly because of Justin Cummings' vote in city council. People are dying because of the policies of Housing Matters. We must stop their violent, vicious attacks against the homeless. They need to pay their employees a living wage so they can not keep moving case managers to better jobs because they can't possibly pay their bills here in this town. And why is all the money going to Don Lane and Bill Kramer when people are suffering on the streets? This is outrageous and this stuff. It's a time for us to defend the rights of the homeless. Housing Matters can have influence to stop these attacks against the homeless in our community. It's important that we organize against that. So we
There you go. Okay, so housing matters. Let's stop harassing the homeless and start protesting the homeless sweeps in this community. It's vital that the homeless sweeps end in this community. People were killed because housing matters did not stand up to the city and stop these vicious homeless sweeps. Time for housing matters to join the homeless rights community and defend the dignity of the homeless. Absolutely needs to happen.
You're not yelling at us.
We are yelling at you, and it does not make any difference. You're killing us, so you kill us, we yell at you.
Let brothers try it, man.
You kill us, we yell at you. You kill people, we yell at you. It's not, it's, you know, killing people is a little worse than having to hear about people being killed. That's one of the things. So, yeah, the housing matters.
I get a try, I get a
Step
try.
up and then work with people. You want a banner? Okay, housing matters. They need to stand up for the homeless and stop doing the homeless sweep.
You want to get sun?
No, we don't give a crap what you're talking about. So there you go. So there you go. Housing matters. Needs to stand up against these brutal attacks against the homeless. Justin Cummings voted to evict Ross Camp, and our friend Desi died. Housing matters needs to really stand up and start working with the homeless instead of attacking them and allowing these homeless suites on Coral Street. Housing matters is a criminal enterprise that's attacking the homeless, and it needs to stop. They have the power to stop these brutal, deadly sweeps. It's time to stop these dangerous sweeps. Housing matters needs to step up and stop these cruel sweeps against the homeless. They have the power to save homeless people's lives by demanding that Mayor Keeley and Shrivera and Justin Cummings need to stop their violence against the homeless. Imagine being forced out of the streets, having your blankets and sleeping bags stolen, and then having to live in the atmospheric river. That's what Housing Matters just did. They just were involved in the seizure of at least 100, maybe 250 people who lost their survival here to the homeless sweep on Coral Street. This needs to stop. Housing Matters needs to pressure the city to stop these violent, deadly homeless sweeps. They must stop these deadly... Yeah, we're going to keep hollering, man, because we lost our friends, were killed by the policies of Housing Matter in this city. We have lost numerous friends who have died directly because of the policies of this city and Housing Matters complicity with those policies. The Housing Matters definitely is responsible for this vicious, violent attack against the homeless in our community. Must stop. Housing Matters must stop this cruelty. It's outrageous that they supported this horrible, horrible, violent, brutal assaults on the homeless in our community. It must stop. Every death from people living outside of Coral Street because of their vicious sweeps and their inability to stop the city from this violence is on their heads. Yeah. Housing Matters needs to start standing up for the homeless instead of collecting tax dollars and grants from rich people to run this circus that they have. Time to stop the sweeps, and Housing Matters has the power to influence Fred Keeley, who is speaking here tonight, Justin Cummings, Shrivera, Don Lane could get involved and stop these horrible sweeps. But they don't care about homeless people. They look at homeless people like Zionists look at Palestinians. They're useless eaters. That's the policy of our city, that's the policy of our county, and that's the policy of Housing Matters. If you think of people as less than human, then you can treat them the way they've been treating them here with their homeless sweeps. So Housing Matters needs to step up and stop these homeless sweeps outside the shelter. We had 2 people die this week behind these sweeps. We need this to stop. We can't have Housing Matters continue to support deadly policies of homeless sweeps on Coral Street and around the shelter and at Harvey West. So we have lost 2 people because of the policies of the city and Housing Matters complicity in those policies, and the fact that they invited the mayor and Justin Cummings to speak here shows they do not care about the homeless. These are the two of the most vocal anti-homeless politicians in our community, and this must stop. We must stop the death and the suffering. Housing Matters coordinated with the city to drive 100 to 150 people into the cold on the coldest night of this year, and resulting in at least one death directly from that sweep. So this must stop. And there was another death related to that outside of Housing Matters. And Housing Matters gets millions of dollars, and yet they keep saying that this budget is not for helping the homeless, it's for something else. Housing Matters spent probably $300,000 on rebranding. I would not be shocked if they didn't spend something like $500,000 on their rebranding. We know they spent $65,000 on their parade from Pacific Avenue to the county building. But yet, groups like HUF and Food Not Bombs and the Homeless Union, we're spending our own money to try to provide survival gear so people don't die on the streets. So we don't live in mansions like Phil Kramer does or Don Lang. We live in substandard housing ourselves, and we are barely not homeless, and often we are. I've been homeless for much of my time here in Santa Cruz. So that we've got to stop this terror attack by the city and by Housing Matters. It's time to stop the homeless sweeps. We must stop these homeless sweeps. The homeless sweeps are deadly. Housing Matters is responsible for at least the deaths of 2 people this week, or in January, to be specific, and this must stop. We cannot continue these homeless sweeps. We cannot continue to steal everybody's belongings and throw them in garbage trucks. Housing Matters has the ability to have influence to stop these brutal, deadly homeless sweeps. Housing Matters should stand with the homeless and stop these brutal, deadly sweeps. Stop wasting their money on homeless parades. If we'd gotten $65,000, we would not have used it for a parade. We do our parades for under $30, and that's all the flyers we print. And we still get more people at our protests. So Housing Matters spending $65,000 to march from one day with the mayor holding the banner, the man who is actually responsible for these brutal laws. He's the one that has made it illegal to live in an RV or a car. We run into people every day who have their cars and RVs towed and junked, all their belongings taken, their medicine taken, poverty pimps. It's time to stand up against these poverty pimps and demand that they stop tormenting and torturing and terrorizing our homeless communities. Housing Matters has the power to actually influence these politicians. Instead of inviting them to speak, they should be denouncing them for their cruel, horrible, anti-homeless policies. It's outrageous that they are killing people in our community and no one is speaking out against it except for those of us on the ground that work every day with the homeless. So it's outrageous that Housing Matters swept the streets and with the city, cooperated with the city to sweep Coral Street and Harvey West and throw people's belongings away, belongings much of which we had just given them on Sunday, and then they did nothing to try to stop the homeless sweep. In fact, we got emails showing that Phil Kramer of Housing Matters was coordinating these homeless sweeps with the city. So time for Housing Matters to stop attacking the homeless. Time for Housing Matters to stop attacking the homeless. Let's stop attacking the homeless. Housing Matters is no friend of homeless people. Just ask a homeless person. Ask any homeless person in this community what they think of Housing Matters and the brutality, and you will get an honest answer. We would have a lot more homeless people here if it wasn't an atmospheric river today. But because the atmospheric river this late at night,
Fighting for survival.
people have to take the Costco tarps that we have in our tents and sleeping bags and find a doorway to live. Because of Housing Matters coordination with the city to sweep Coral Street and to sweep the area at Harvey West. Their $4 million encampment resolution grant given to the city to help coordinate with Housing Matters to drive the homeless from the streets is outrageous. We can do better with our $4 million than to attack homeless people, take their belongings and throw them into garbage trucks. It is outrageous what Housing Matters is allowing to happen in front of its location. It should stand with the homeless, but as you can see, they have no concern for the homeless. They have a concern for making money. And one of the symptoms of that is they don't pay their case managers enough to have a living wage. So you'll hear every week homeless people complaining that they lost their case manager because they took a job that was able to pay their bills. This must stop. The homeless are being killed by our city, suffering. They are living outside in this atmospheric river. It's illegal to be in a parking garage so they can't get out of the rain. This is a cruel, cruel city. Santa Cruz is the name of this protest because the city officials, the county officials, and the people running Housing Matters are cruel, and they do not care about the well-being of the homeless. If they did, they would have been out there with me trying to stop the homeless sweep, but they just waved it on like it was okay, no problem. And hundreds of people went out, at least 150 people went without food because they were driven away from Housing Matters. It is outrageous that Housing Matters continues to get all this millions of dollars, and yet it has no compassion for the homeless.
But they're so well dressed, Steve. Look at this.
So we need to stand up against Housing Matters, the city, Fred Keeley, Justin Cummings, Shira. These people are vicious, anti-homeless politicians who have passed laws making it suffering of this town, homeless people in this town, horrible. We receive at Food Not Bombs a number of elderly women who have had their cars towed by this city and have lost everything and assume that there's a shelter to go in, and instead we hand them our $35 pup tent and a sleeping bag because they have lost everything. Housing Matters could pressure the city to stop this violence. It's about time Housing Matters stops the violence against the homeless and start cooperating with the homeless community. This is outrageous what they are doing. You can see clearly that they don't care about the homeless because they invited Fred Keeley to speak here, they invited Shriver to speak here, and they invited Justin Cummings to speak here. The three most violent politicians in our community who have participated in creating laws that have killed more homeless people in the recent times than probably any other politicians in our community in past times. It's time to Housing Matters to unite with the homeless community and defend our community against these brutal sweeps by the city and the county. This has got to end. Housing Matters needs to step up and stop their violent attacks against the homeless and their coordination with the city and their horrible sweeps where they take their survival gear on the coldest and rainiest nights, throw it in garbage trucks so people get to live in these doorways with nothing. Don Lane was supposedly an ally of the homeless, and he got a vote when he was a city councilor to make it legal to sleep outside without a blanket. What kind of compassion is that? That's outrageous.